Welcome back. So let's talk safety. And indeed, as Kadi earlier said, the National Safety Investigation Bureau joins us to expand on that conversation, particularly with the expansion of their new mandates to now include road, rail, and of course marine transport. And as far as that is concerned, we know that there's so much to talk about concerning the many concerns emanating from transportation on all of these routes. And joining us on this particular one is Engineer Abdullahi Babanya, is the Director, Transport Investigation, Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau. He joins us today, of course, representing the Director General of that agency, Captain Alex Badi, who was supposed to be with us. Thank you so much, sir, for coming through on this conversation, and thank you for your patience.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this really is a continuing conversation from, our last outing with Captain Alex Badi in February, where he did talk about how the Bureau encourages the NCAA, to carry out checks in line with its own recommendations, about concerns of airworthiness of Nigerian airlines, particularly following reports of concerns about aircraft skidding off runway upon landing concerns. And, after that episode of Max Air and the others, we've since recorded some others between June and July. There's Rano, which had an emergency landing in Sokoto, and of course there's also Air Peace Airlines. So it appears as if there are still concerns about regulation. How do you respond to this?
Thank you for this important question. In safety management, you have to bring all parties that are involved in the system. NCAA, Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, is the regulator. NCAA makes the rules. NCAA certifies the operators, certifies the personnel, certifies the equipment, and ensure that airworthiness of the aircraft and other equipment that are involved in the navigation of flights are up to standard. And they also operate oversight functions to ensure that those certifications, authorizations, and approvals that they issued are followed on according to these approvals that were granted. On the other side, you have Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau, which is charged with independent investigation of occurrences. And when NSIB investigates, it makes recommendations. Now, through collaboration between Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau and the NCAA, we monitor compliance with those recommendations. Sometimes we issue recommendations and then the parties implement the recommendations, but here and there you have some failures. So we revisit those failures. We look at the effectiveness of those recommendations that were made, and then if there's need to readjust or to look the other way and see, expand the scope of the safety net, and then see what else can be done. So in that wise, you improve safety of the system. Wherever you have humans involved, definitely there are going to be errors, and these errors sometimes lead to unwanted situations. That is why you have constant surveillance of the system. From time to time, you conduct audits, you conduct visits, to those facilities, to the aircraft, to the airports, check the runways, from time to time. You have program at the beginning of the year on what to do and so on and so forth to ensure that you are looking at the entire system at a go. And if something happens in the process, NSIB will investigate. After investigation, make recommendations on how to improve the system. So that's how it works. Thank you very much.
So, Bukola.
Yes, indeed. So let's expand to, the other routes, since your mandate has now been expanded to include other routes of transportation. We know that you are releasing a document very soon that will encompass new recommendations on guidelines for safety on rail, on marine, and on road. Now, let's take them one by one. What would they be, for instance, for rail transport, where there are concerns of, stolen tracks, there are concerns of developing faults midway, and passengers. We've seen this year passengers trekking long distances after their train, ran into trouble and they couldn't continue with the journey.
Okay, like you have said, the mandate of NSIB has been expanded following the signing of the NSIB Establishment Act of 2022 by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Accident investigation is a process, and to comply with the process, we have to have policies, we have to have regulations, and then we have to have procedures on how to conduct those regulations. So as soon as we came on board, we looked at what we had on ground, and then first, to give the strength to the effect to the act, there has to be regulations. And what do the regulations do? Regulations define roles for entities that participate in a particular area. For example, we are talking about rail. Prior to the NSIB Establishment Act of 2022, the operations of railway in Nigeria had always been the entire business of Nigeria Railway Corporation. In this case, NRC is the operator, NRC is the regulator, NRC is the investigator. So whenever anything goes wrong in the operation of the rail system, which is operated by NRC, it is the same NRC that will conduct investigation and then proffer solutions on how to fix those. With the establishment of NSIB, we are having an independent accident investigator who is not part of the regulation, who is not part of the operations. So he's standing alone. So in this situation, the regulations that we are making, and the regulations are derived from the acts that establish NSIB. So the regulations will define the roles of NRC in the event of an accident. NRC will be responsible for notifying the NSIB that certain occurrences have happened at a particular location, and that should come on time. And then NRC will now form a GO team that would deploy to the site, gather evidences, and then come back to the office and then conduct analysis of the evidences picked. So the regulations for investigation of rail accidents that NSIB is about to promulgate will actually determine the roles that entities in the rail system are going to play. And we have to remember now that Lagos State is also operating a rail system. And we are aware also here in the FCT, there is a rail system, the metro line that is running within the city.
If I may pause in just a moment, sir.
The regulations.
Just a moment, because of time. So I want to throw in a couple of questions in one so you can unpack them for us. First, talking about safety, the Niger boat incident, I want to get maybe an update on whether you're involved in that and what exactly is going to be done. For me, is to prevent even further accident from happening in terms of regulation. I know your job is to investigate, which means sometimes it's more like coming to do damage control. But we need to be proactive to save lives. I would like you to speak to the issue of safety in that particular river. In addition, now that the mandate has been expanded, as great as it sounds, do you guys have the capacity as an institution in terms of manpower, in terms of technical know-how to be able to carry out these multi-layer, multi-subsectoral investigative activities?
Thank you. let me start by extending our condolences to the families of the victims of the unfortunate Shiroro boat accident that happened on Saturday. The NSIB got to know about the occurrence through media, initially through social media. Then when the mainstream media started carrying the story, it drew our attention. So we deployed a GO team. Our GO team arrived, and you have to imagine that they deployed from Abuja down to Niger State, to Shiroro in particular. And they went to gather information on what has happened. From the reports that we got, the preliminary information that we gathered from the site, the accident happened as a result of the boat capsizing in the river. And the boat was carrying about 39 persons with a child. And unfortunately, 13 of them perished. What is important here is to mention that 7 of the 39 passengers were wearing life vests, and all the 7 survived. So what does this say? It says that some small but important steps need to be taken. Just ensure that all those people that are boarding those boats wear safety jackets, those flotation devices. In the event of the accident, they will be able to remain alive, remain on the surface of the water until rescue comes. Now, talking to the second part of your question, yes, we are new into those other areas. We have capacity of being investigating air accidents. Since the inception of this administration, the DG has embarked on a multi-faceted, multi-pronged approach to improving our capacity and capability in investigating those other new modes that have been added to our mandate. So we are doing trainings, we are equipping our laboratories. In fact, as we speak, next week or thereabout, we are going to launch the installation of recording devices on road traffic. Our laboratory is being expanded. We have a material science laboratory that is also being expanded. We have identified training institutions that will give us the required training that we need. We have employed a number of personnel. By September, they are going to assume office. And we have already ironed out the kind of trainings that they require. We were able to harness expertise from professionals in the industry. They gave us their advice that we need to take, and definitely we are going to follow those advice to ensure that we develop the capacity that is required to conduct independent, thorough accident investigation in all the modes of transportation in Nigeria.
Before we go to road transport, I'd like us to revisit the matter of, train transport. Yes, indeed, your scope has only just been expanded following that legislation, but there are real concerns in that space about stolen slippers, clips, train derailment. What would your specific recommendations be as far as that is concerned? And then the trains running through thousands of kilometers are not, bordered by any form of safety in terms of walls and all of that. In 60 seconds, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a very difficult question. There's always a thin line between safety and security. Most of the issues we are dealing with in the rail system have to do with security. So first and foremost, we have to ensure that security is provided to the infrastructure of the rail system in Nigeria. Things that other countries take for granted in Nigeria is not like that. You see somebody will just go and start picking infrastructure that is meant to serve the people for whatever reason. Therefore, first and foremost, we have to ensure that security is paramount to ensure that the track, because it's very long, the track system is well protected from pilfering of all kinds and also from intrusion, because as they run through forests and other desert areas, animals will also jump onto the tracks and can cause accidents.
Yeah, so, thank you
so
very much.
It's very important that we look at that.
Yeah, pardon me, we're totally out of time. We must wrap up at this point and, of course, look forward to another opportunity, to exhaust this conversation as much as possible. We've been talking with Engineer Abdullahi Babanya, the Director, Transport Investigation, Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau. Thank you for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
When we return, there's more to come as we speak with a young Nigerian who is doing great things in the film industry. Stay with us. We'll be right back.